Good morning. It's just before 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're on our way to Gloucester, Massachusetts to meet up with Captain Gary Cannell, captain of the Tuna Hunter. Now, don't let the name fool you. Though he is a world-famous big fish guide, he is also aligned with some of the most influential research teams that are around tagging and doing vital research for the conservation of bluefin tuna. Today, we're on his boat to catch and to tag some of these giant bluefin. Morning.
Good morning, Tim.
How are you?
Good.
Great. Where they kind of
I started off doing it commercially, catching them and selling them. And then as the fishery declined and the money went down, the Japanese economy went down, the price started going down. So I decided to do more chartering than commercial fishing. I definitely see a decline in the fish. You know, I think they're really wiping them out over in the Mediterranean. They have just tons of trawlers over there that are scooping up everything and not going by laws, and they're not paying attention to quota, and they're wiping out our fish.
Oh yeah, he's very dedicated to trying to help, you know, preserve the species and get more information just on anything he can do to help with the research. He definitely does. He goes above and beyond sometimes.
I'm just afraid that the fish have such a high price on their head that people are just going to keep on catching them. Even if it's illegal to catch them, the black market will catch them. The only way to regulate it is for the Chinese and the Japanese who buy the majority of the sushi and bluefin tuna. They have to step in and try to do something.
Well, we're facing right now a huge crisis as far as bluefin tuna in the Atlantic. And that is that we're seeing the disappearance of coastal fisheries on both sides of the ocean. Mediterranean countries are exceeding what we call their total allowable catch. They're also fishing on juvenile fish that have never had the chance to spawn. And the problem is that the assumption has been that there are two separate stocks in the Atlantic for bluefin. An eastern stock that stays in the Med for the most part, and a western Atlantic stock that's found on our side of the ocean. But for years, it's been fairly well acknowledged that bluefin don't obey these boundaries and that they're fully capable of crossing the Atlantic and mixing at as young as 1 or 2 years of age.
Molly's one of the people that really care. You know, a lot of people have jobs and job's a job, but Molly is someone that really cares about what she does in her work.
What has been a great resource for us is that fishermen like Gary are stepping up and offering us boat time, offering to tag fish for us, those kinds of things. That is extremely important for our program.
It's great to catch fish from other countries. You know, just recently one of the guys caught a fish from Spain. It was tagged over there 3 years ago, and they caught it here. It was a 4-year-old fish. And we're trying to find out where the fish breed. It's probably better they don't know where they breed.
He's using our conventional tags. We're using Billfish Foundation tags. That's a tuna identifier. And once he tags the fish, he sends in a card to us that identifies the size of the fish, the angler, and the location. If that fish is ever recaptured, hopefully the angler that captures it will note the identifying tag. That information then will get sent back to an agency such as ourselves or the Billfish Foundation. And what we learn is how quickly that fish has grown, so in other words its growth rate, where it went, and just a lot of basic information. And if that fish is sampled on the other side, if we get the tissue back, we might even be able to identify where that fish was spawned. This is called an X tag, and what it is a miniature pop-up satellite archival tag. And it's really cool electronic data logger that for the first time ever gives us a way to get data back from the fish without having to catch the fish. And we ask this tag to remain on the fish for up to 12 months. We attach the fish on board on juveniles. This is attached or anchored right at the base of the second dorsal fin, so it's basically meant to swim out and float behind the fish so it doesn't interfere with the fin. So on the day that it's due, the nose cone pulls apart, this remains in the fish, and the pop-up tag detaches from the tether pops up to the surface, and then there's a radio transmitter, much like an EPIRB, that then starts transmitting the data that's been logged by the data logger to a receiver on board an orbiting satellite. So after about a month, after the tag is released, we get the full story on the migration path and the behavior of the fish. So it's quite spectacular. If we didn't have electronic tags, there would have been no way on Earth we could have identified that fish tagged at the same time, same size, would disperse throughout the Atlantic and come back to the same feeding area the next year. That's stunning.
I think it'd be like the buffalo going away. It'd be a terrible disaster. You know, these fish are all over the country, all over the world. You know, in Africa, they're highly migratory. It'd just be a terrible thing to let them go extinct. And there was so many people after them. All the countries are after them. It's a really tough battle.
It takes hundreds of thousands of dollars to maintain this kind of research. So we're hoping that the powers that be will step in and help us maintain the continuity of the tuna research program.
I certainly think there's plenty of chance to save the fishery, but mainly people have to smarten up, and people need more knowledge, and people have to know, the right people have to know what's going on. Right now it's awful political, and right now everybody's trying to make a buck.